Okay, so yeah, I was cut out. I said the S word, so if anybody heard me while I was off, I'm sorry. But what I would like to do this evening is introduce to our public is a public safety director. I have been screaming for this for a very long time. Uh, Actually, if you've been listening to the beginning of this meeting, you would clearly see that public safety director would be welcomed into this town. Going off the last conversation and introduction under new business, under that stipend I mentioned, that stipend and introduction would not be necessary if we had a female police officer, which is way, way, way overdue in this town. I moved here in 1972 when Joe Calora, a Phillipsburg police officer, married my mom and brought us here. I have been entering as a young lad since 1972 into that police department. And I've walked around it as a kid. I walked around it as a trooper. I've walked around it as to get my firearms ID card and fingerprinted. I've walked around it when I've been involved in 3 investigations from the former administration as a councilman, somehow wrongdoing or price gouging or raking fields or whatever it cost, whatever I was being investigated on. I have been in that police department since 1972. And at no time was I ever about swearing or saying anything inappropriate, because there was never, except the young lady up front, a female officer in that room. I think that's something a public safety director would bring forefront. I think it's something our town needs. I think our town needs someone, a public safety director, to actually oversee our fire and EMS, to be a spokesperson, especially during this time of COVID and our national emergencies. We do need an emergency operations center. We do need updated SOPs. We do need Hispanic officers. We do need Hispanic speaking. We need diversity is what we need. Okay, so I do believe we would get that with a public safety director, and that's something that doesn't involve crazy money. Just like our mayor, it could be just a stipend. The public safety director does not, for the folks thinking I'm going to introduce some position over a monstrous amount of money. No, it doesn't really have to be that way. It just has to be someone that has the best interest of the town, a professional lady or man that can take charge of a situation and get out ahead of it. So when you find a gun on the playground, when you find graffiti, and you're asked questions during a meeting of, what's this, what's that, you actually have answers. How about that? Answers. So that's my push. And to tell you the truth, in the latter half of my career, I was deputy troop commander of 2 different troops and the executive officer of field operations. All 3 positions involved female majors: Major Heidi Scripture, Major Pam Elliott, Major Anne Marie D'Angelo. All were my supervisors, and I thought the world of them. So it's time for Phillipsburg to get on board. It's time for us to move forward into the 21st century and have multiple hires and moving forward of officers that have diversity in this town. And you get that with the public director. I just don't feel you get that with the current administration.
You have a motion, or are you going to?
I'll wave flags and stuff if you want me to. I'll do whatever you want me to do. But yeah, I just want to. I would like the motion to move forward to into the month of November, when the budgetary constraints are lifted. In addition to highly encourage. Look at me, Mayor Tersigni. Encourage you to hire a public safety director, and let's move into the 21st century. Any way you want to handle it, move it forward.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Pardon me.
So going into November, we'll let the council figure it out.
Yeah, roll call.
Councilman White.
I think we need people on the street. We're down an officer, and I don't disagree that we need diversity. I don't know that hiring a public safety director will accomplish that. I think that, we have to go according to the list that we get. If we get female on the list, I would hope that we would consider that individual. I know that we had in the past considered a female officer. She is now employed, I think, in Powhatan Township. But I do agree that diversity, as far as a Spanish speaking officer, and I say officer, not public safety director. And I think that that can be accomplished with what we have. But we do need to fill the position that is vacant in the police department before we hire a public safety director.
Okay. Vicky, that was my fault. That Councilman Wyatt corrected me. That should have been discussion. Discussion, Councilwoman DiGirolamo.
Okay, I was going to ask what exactly were we voting on?
Yeah, my fault.
Because I'm not sure. It was a lot of discussion. What exactly is the motion before us? Consideration for
Public Safety Director going into the month of November.
Going in the month of I'd feel more comfortable if this was put into the budget and something we look to do next year and see if we work it in and how we work it in. Again, we just got a BA on board. I'd like to give them the time to work with the mayor to put together the best budget possible that can put the right people in the right seats on the bus. And, it's not something I want to rush. I don't know enough about the position. I don't know a salary range. Haven't heard from the police chief. Not opposed, but again, I think the right time to do it is as we see the budget and where that gels out. As long as it fits into the budget going into 2021. Okay.
Right. Councilman Fulper.
Yeah. Listen, if anyone's qualified to make this determination, it's going to be Frank Mcvey. 26 years removed, 26 years dedicated captain of the state police. He knows his stuff. And, given the lack of communication and, in my opinion, echoing the lack of public responses over the past few weeks, including what we heard here this evening, which could have had a negative impact on our police officers, I really think that this is by far the best idea brought forth in a very long time.
Council Vice President, any additional comments?
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
Or he just ran out the door.
He might have. I think he said quite a bit. I think we know his stance. I would definitely be for this position going forward. Can we get a roll call, Vicky? Let me see if I can get Council Vice President back first. I do apologize. He sometimes has some internet connectivity issues. Council Vice President, I skipped you on discussion. I feel that you made you would be okay with that since you made your point.
Well, I was. I have to say this. If we were considering the Powhatan officer, why didn't we take her? Honestly, right? Honestly, towards and not in a derogatory way, our former mayor of 16 years had an opportunity to put a female officer on. Why didn't we? There's a lot of, like, this goes back to our redevelopment. A lot of people are asking us, how did you get this done? And Randy, Council President, sorry, we always said the same thing to everybody. Don't ask us how we got it done. Ask the former elected officials and current elected officials that served in the past, why didn't you get it done? So here I stand before you tonight. Why didn't we get it done? So that's all I got to add to that, my man.
Okay. Can you go through roll call, Vicky?
Sure. Councilman Wyatt,
No,
Councilwoman DeGirolamo,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you just repeat what the exact motion is? What exactly am I yes or noing?
Do you have that, Vicky?
I'm sorry, the creation of a safety director position.
I think we lost a vice president again.
That doesn't mean we need to hire it, correct?
That's correct. I believe it's unfunded, Councilwoman. I believe it's an unfunded position. We would treat it as such.
That's my hesitation.
Yeah, it's an
That
unfunded position.
again, I'm good moving people around and putting them on different seats, but not adding extra. So I'll go with yes.
Councilman Fulper,
Yes.
Council Vice President McVey,
He is back. So roll call for you, Council Vice President.
I'm going to try to switch devices as well. I assume I would be a yes.
and Council President Piazza.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, was that the end of your new business, Council Vice President?
Other than getting a $60,000 raise and then maybe moving you to 70,000, yeah, I'm good.
Stop.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
I already took care of mine during the reading of the late resolution.